All right, today we got a set of Wild at Heart levers, and we're going to install them. The first step is taking the levers off of the bike. You need a 19 socket, and there's a stamped sheet metal retainer on the bottom. Just undo that, and a bolt comes right out, and then your levers come off. So we have the clutch lever. Clutch lever has a E-clip. And then we have the brake lever, and the brake lever is riveted, which we'll have to bust that rivet. We'll do that in a second. Got this parts kit here from Wild at Heart. Got 2 levers, 2 pins, 2 E-clips. So we'll go ahead and set this package aside. Now, these levers are indicated which one they are. There's a B for brake. And then there's a C for clutch. A little silicone mat here so we can keep all of the parts as they come apart. All right, set this one aside. Go ahead and remove the E-clip. Anybody who's messed with E-clips, this can be rather daunting as they come off quite a bit, or they go flying quite a bit. Rotate that around. There we go. Now, let's remove it. This is the art of doing this together. May not get it perfect each time, but we'll get through it. All right, so then we pull this pin out. There's a detent bearing or ball, and there's a spring. So as we remove this, we have to try and not lose those parts. So I also did run this all the way back. This detent will screw this in and out. As you see, this will go tighter or looser. So I went ahead and loosened it as far as I can, try to get as much pressure off that spring as we can. So go ahead and set that aside. And now this should just pull apart. There's the ball bearing. Here is a retainer. So we can clean this stuff off. Go ahead and set that spring aside as well. Cleaned up, looks much better. This washer cleaned up. Should be lubing these with some kind of dry lube, like graphite. All right, so this is the clutch lever. So now this will go back like that. So let's go ahead and start putting this back together. We need to also remove this retainer. So that's tight. Just spin this. And that will come out. So we have the wheel, and we have this part. So we go to the clutch, place the clutch wheel in, go ahead and place this in, get it started. It's reverse thread. So get it started, tighten it down. All right. Now we have that together. We have this part cleaned. We're going to go ahead and put the pressure clip back in here. So that goes in like that. This is upside down. Put the spring in. Put the ball detent, goes into the hole with the ball. Again, this is upside down, just so you know the orientation. I'm doing it upside down because this is where we will place all of this together. Go ahead and make sure that this pressure ring, it's kind of curved, right? I don't know if you can see that, but I put the curve so that I can just press this on and it'll press it down. Now it's in there. Now we will use the new supplied pin. Place that pin in just like that, and Bob's your uncle. This should have some flex to it. As we lube it up and it works its way in, it will flex a little bit better, but now we can adjust it. The adjustment's working just fine. The detent's working fine. So all we need to do now is place this E-clip on here, and we're finished with the clutch. E-clip goes on like that. You can pop these on a couple of different ways, a pair of pliers, screwdriver. It really doesn't matter as long as you get it on there and it doesn't go flying. There we go, just like that. And that's finished, and then we can reinstall it just the way that we took it off, and now we got a 2-finger lever. Just for comparison, that's how far it does not extend. It also sets back a little bit more curved than the other one, and we should be able to get 2 fingers on here with these fingers hanging off. We'll get it put back on the bike and then we'll test it out and make sure that it works fine. All right, set that one aside. Now we've got this one to do. All right, so with this pin, we have to drill it out. Now what I mean by drilling it out is we're drilling this head off of here. We are not drilling through. So get the drill, start it, be very careful as soon as that head starts to spin. Check it a little bit more. Set that aside for a second. Let's see where we're at. You can always take off more. You can't put metal back, so just remember that. Gotta go a little bit longer. Sometimes you gotta put a little resistance on the backside. Okay, see this? This is the rest of that ring. Don't touch that drill bit. At home, it might be hot, and there's really no need for it. I just want to show you what it looks like. So that is the rest of the rivet that wasn't drilled out. As you can see, it looks flush here now, and we should just be able to pop this washer off. Just like that. We won't be using this washer again either. So let me just wipe this space off a little bit. Toss that away in the garbage. Now we should be able to push this pin through, and just like that, super easy. This pin is also garbage because it had the rivet. Rivet's gone. This thing is useless. So we'll go ahead and toss that away as well. All right, flip it upside down because you have this washer. So let's go ahead and remove this washer. We'll clean that in a second. We have a spring, and we should have a bearing. Okay, take that off. Same thing with this one. Let's go ahead and turn this until it's removed. And there's our parts. Set that lever aside. Let's go ahead and clean this stuff up really well. You can use some kind of chemical if you want. I'm not even using any chemical, I'm just wiping it off. I did use wet lube on this one time, and that's why it's all grimy. Well, that, and as you can ask two-wheel ADV, we do a lot of off-road. This isn't a Starbucks bike. All right, clean that up. Let's clean up this walk washer. This is really simple. If I wasn't filming this, it would take 10 minutes to do this. Okay. That's from the last part. Let's move these over so we don't get them confused. Let's go ahead and open these parts and set them aside so we don't have to do this while we're trying to hold it together. So there's our new pin. There's our new E-clip. I would suggest using new E-clips on parts when you put them in. You can usually get away without doing it, but there's no reason to chance this stuff, especially with something as important as levers. Okay, now we have reassembly. So put this back in, drop that into place. All right, so this is reverse thread as well. Let's go ahead and turn this all the way in. Oh, maybe it's not. Nope, this one is not reverse thread. So turn this one all the way in. If you forget, just try it. If it doesn't work, try it again. All right, let's drop the ball bearing in there. We got the spring. So the spring can go on either side. It can go on this side or the other one. You can also turn this until it hits one of the detents, gives it a little bit more room. So it sits in very low profile with both. So let's go ahead and set this in the way that we're going to press it back in. Again, see it's curved. So we want to make sure that the curve, we press it onto the curve. If the curve is set with the high end up, we're going to snag it and it's going to be a little bit more of a pain. So just make sure that it's set the best it can be. Keep the ball bearing in here. There's the spring. I'm going to hold that with one finger, hold this one with the other finger, mate it, and just press it in. Now this goes from the top down, so make sure we flip this back over before we put the pin in. If you have an issue trying to center the pin, you can always use a tool or something. A punch works good. The screwdriver, if you just take the screwdriver and get it in there, you can wiggle it around until it's lined up, and then you should be able to press that right in. All right, this E-clip goes right here. It's a little more flush than the other one. Again, you can try to get it on with a screwdriver, or you can just use the largest set of channel locks that you have and pop it on there, or the smallest set. It really doesn't matter. This is literally what I just had sitting next to me. All right, pop it on. E-clip's on. Make sure that the E-clip is seated in the center here as well. If it's off, then you may need to just press this pin down a little bit more. Now we test it. It's got some play. Go ahead and turn this out. It should turn out, and you should start seeing this lip out a little bit, and then it won't have any play. So that's in the furthest out position, and this is the furthest in position. If these work properly with my hands, because I have like 3XL glove hands, I think they're going to be the most comfortable, as close to the grips as can be, because with these levers, when you two finger these, they hit the back of your hands. Now I wear Knox gloves, which have the plastic over the top of the fingers. That then I can only pull it to about here. So I have very little lever throw. I have to have these levers out as far as I can so that, especially the clutch, I can disengage the clutch fully. Hopefully with these, and this is my intent, is that I can pull these and my fingers, at least those Knox gloves, will touch here or here so that I don't have as much gap between the lever and my glove, and I can leave the levers pulled closer to the grips. So we'll see if that works or not. Set these aside. Go ahead and take a look, inspect both of them, make sure that they are how we expect. Levers are very important, so just make sure, take a look and make sure you don't have any extra parts. One E-clip, one pin, that's good. The other pin I threw away because I drilled out. Going to save these levers. You never know if you break a lever and you may need those. Then we have spares. All right, thank you, and I hope you enjoy this, and it's a tutorial that helps somebody.